Good morning, welcome to Planet Mojo. Today I'm going to show you how to install a waterproof garage door threshold. I actually need to install two of them. One on this door, one on that door, and here they are. First thing I got to do is unbox these, unroll them on the floor, and see if I can install them right away. A lot of times you're going to need to unroll these and let them relax for at least 24 hours so that they don't curl up when you try to glue them in where they need to go. Sounds like I woke up a cricket living in here. One 16 feet, one 10 feet. Set the instructions aside. May need them, maybe not. And what I want to do is lay this out on the floor upside down. I don't want to get it all dusty, and if I get any dust on it, I'll have to clean it off because I want good adhesion when it comes time to gluing this down. Well, that's pretty good. The end is curling, but the rest of it's laying pretty flat. Oh, this end is super curly though. Alright, I'm glad I did this. There's no way I would have been able to glue this down. I'll add some weight to that in a bit. Very, very kinked on this end. We'll get a lot of weight on that. Alright, let's get this one opened up. This one is 16 feet. Alright, now for some concrete blocks, and I'm going to let this stuff sit for at least a day. Alright, I just measured these, and the 16-foot one is 6 inches longer, 16 feet 6 inches. This one really doesn't matter. This is a 10-foot piece for an 8-foot door, so there's plenty on that. The next thing to do is to fill in these saw cuts, the ones that go under the door. Water will get in them from outside and travel way the heck into the building. We need to get those filled right from the beginning of the cut, at least beyond where we're going to glue this thing. The rest of it can be filled anytime. We just got to get the stuff that goes under the door filled today so that it's dry when we glue these thresholds down. I think we'll start with the front here. When I fill these, I'm going to start way down here and then go up and over and try to squeeze as much of the filler in as possible. First, I'm going to clean these out and blow them out, then we'll get going on this. Just going to take a nail. Just barely fits. I'd hate to use a smaller nail though. But if I needed to, I could hold a smaller nail in a vice grips All right, found a narrower nail. Oh yeah, there's lots of stuff in there. I'm only going to go about 2 feet in, and while I'm at it, I'll just mark that. And again, once I get both of these scraped clean, I'm going to blow it out with compressed air. The filler that I'm using on this is self-leveling, so once I get this end caulked up, I'm going to have to tape over it so it doesn't just run out. And at this end, it's going to kind of taper down a bit, and when I do the rest of the job, I'll just match up to that. Actually need to go a little bit further. All right. The last time I did this, I used a different crack sealant, but I'm going to try this time. It's commercial grade Quikrete Advanced Polymer Concrete Crack Sealant. Thinking about this, I may have grabbed the wrong tube. This is correct for the job, but this is not self-leveling like the Sikaflex. I may have thought it was self-leveling, but it's not. Not that it's going to make much of a difference, but on the rest of these cracks, I'm going to use self-leveling stuff, probably the Sika. All right, so now that these are filled, these are going to dry until tomorrow. Then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to wash the area between the rails here. Wash the entire thing, put a fan on it, let it dry real nice, and then these rubber thresholds, I'm going to cut a little bit off the 10-foot one and figure out my ends. What I need to do, the way these work, there's a high spot that'll go like right here, and then it comes, I don't know, maybe that far, but we'll see how it hits right here. I want it to go under this, and I'm going to seal this whole area right here. On one of our other doors, we've had water drip down the door and come around and get in right here. And I'm not going to let that happen on these doors. You'll see that all tomorrow. So this will dry overnight, and I'll get back with you tomorrow. Okay, it is the next day, about 24 hours later, and this stuff is dry. It is not self-leveling. I'm not going to use that stuff on the rest of this. I'll use up the rest of that tube, but I'm going to get the Sika stuff for the rest of this. But this will work just fine for this. I always keep my old utility knife blades for just a situation like this. So what I'm going to do is trim this real quick. Actually, that works really well. It doesn't have the consistency I was looking for, but it's kind of rubbery, but it trimmed real easy. Yeah, on this end, I didn't want any water going under this, and kind of hard to see. Yep, it's completely sealed. So I'm going to get this done on the rest of these, and then we'll lay out the threshold itself. Okay, I have all of these cut. Now what I'm going to do is come in and sweep really well. Then I'm going to blow the area off with compressed air. Then I'm going to come in with a sponge, well, 2 sponges, and some Mr. Clean, and get the area where the threshold is going really nice and clean. That should dry pretty quick. I'll put a fan on it if need be, but these areas have to be very clean. Once I get that done and it's drying, I'll cut a chunk off that 10-foot piece and figure out the ends here. All right, I've cut the most kinked up end of the 10-foot piece. Cut a little bit off. Like I said before, I only need 8 feet of the 10-foot piece. So I have 2 feet to spare. What you got to do, this is going to be kind of difficult, is close the door on this, and you want the rubber seal, this seal right here, to go right to the back of this yellow line, and then mark the position out here. We'll try to get this door closed. I have a chain hoist. Actually, it shouldn't be too hard. Hopefully you're going to be able to see this. It's getting kind of dark in here. And this rubber seal is a little bit wonky at the very end. So the measurement, like right here, is going to tell me more. All right. want to be able to see the entire yellow line kind of like right there. Let me get this tighter. Okay, this is about it right here. We'll mark that distance. Now, I'm going to lower the door without the threshold and measure that distance and make a little spacer block. Then I can just go right along the bottom of the door all the way across and make an exact mark. They want you to just lay this whole thing out, but as you could see, you're not going to get a nice straight line just by laying this out and tracing the edge of it. So let's get this distance and then cut a block for that. It is exactly 2 inches. That should be pretty easy. Well, it's going to be a little bit loud from here on in. Look at the size of those rocks. We're having the ground dug up. Oh, look at that rock that he's digging up. Hold on, we'll show this for just a little bit. Whoa. Massive rock. That's like 6 feet long, 4 feet wide, and 10 inches thick. Maybe thicker. Holy moly. What we're doing back here really quick is extending this massive concrete block retaining wall, and we're putting a stairway in right there. If you want to see this wall being put in or the extension, make sure you subscribe to Planet Mojo, the main channel, and you'll be able to see all that. I'll put a link to it in the description below. But getting back to this, I have my line in place. Now I'm going to put another line 3.5 inches away from that, because this is 3.5 inches wide. And to do that, I'm just going to use a 1x4, because a 1x4 is 3.5 inches wide. So let me get that other line in place and we'll get to the gluing. All right, because the threshold fits underneath the rails, I'm going to measure from the back of this bracket to the back of the bracket on the other side, and then cut the threshold to that length. They tell you to just lay it out on the floor, but this is a bit easier. Okay, we have 195.5. I don't need to show this whole thing, but what I'm going to do here, this end is pretty square and it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just going to hook my tape on there and then put the block on top of it to hold it in place, and then measure out my 195.5, cut it with a razor knife, and we'll get it over there. All right. Now for the glue. This is what I'm using. Total Tech all-in-one heavy-duty adhesive sealant. It's like impervious to water. It doesn't damage any surfaces, which means it's not going to eat into the rubber or anything. What I'm going to do is put a 1/4 inch bead about a 1/4 inch in from either line, and then zigzag back and forth with the rest of it. This is going to take 2 tubes. On these little cut lines, I'm also going to put a line right on top of that, and I'm going to go to the back of the brackets here, and when I'm done, I'm going to move this over and flip it into place. Okay, I have all the glue in place. I got my 2 outside lines and the zigzag in place, and I had some more glue left over, so I just put a dot in the middle of each one. All right, this is the hard part, and some of it is absolutely going to squeeze out. No big deal, you just cut that out later. Don't try wiping it off right away. Let it dry and cut it off later. All right, I'm going to move this a little bit closer and then try to flip it without causing too much of a smear. Well. While this glue is still wet, you want to adjust your threshold, pull it in or out until you have a nice even line all the way across. This particular glue dries in 1 hour, so I'm going to go over this again in probably another 10 minutes with the wood blocks and push down the edges, and eventually they will be stuck as good as they're gonna stick. And when this is dry, I'm gonna peel off the glue on the edge, and any that got on the rubber seal itself, I'm gonna try to rub off. Gets a little bit sloppy at the ends, but nothing a razor blade can't take care of. So I'll show you this again in an hour when the glue is completely dry, but we have to leave the door down tight on this for at least 24 hours. All right, another thing to note real quick is that I have the garage door down really tight on that, and to do that I used my chain hoist, and it's locked in its little slot there. Chain hoist, I got a video on that if you want to see it. I'll link that below. So, well, let's look at the outside real quick. You're not going to be able to see it. You could just barely see the squeeze out there, but we'll see that more tomorrow once I can open the door again. Okay, it's about a week later, and I'm putting on my liquid flashing to flash between the concrete and the grade board, and while I'm doing that, I'm going to finish up on this. All I'm going to do is take a little bit of mineral spirits, clean this rubber up a little bit, and then put a bead right from the edge here, a nice heavy bead, all the way up to the top of this rubber right here, just from right here to right here. So any water that tries to come around the corner and go through here is stopped by that. I can't really shut the door to show you, but you could see that the rubber seal on the bottom of the door comes right about to the edge of this 2x8 right here. And that's where my flashing is. This is liquid flashing. So I just have a nice thick bead of that comes up about as high as this raised part on the threshold. So now any water that's driven against the door is not going to work its way up and through here or work its way around the door this way. If you install these exactly the way they tell you to, it's going to leak. You really have to have this bead of caulk right here. If you use black adhesive to glue your threshold down, you could probably use that over here. I like the liquid flash because it's insanely flexible and it sticks to pretty much everything. So I think this will last basically forever. All right, as for the other things going on around here, as you can see, things changed back here. He dug into the hill as far as he needs to go for the continuation of our gigantic block retaining wall and stairway, but we still have like the corner of a big rock right there that has to come out. And well, I think I can quickly show you. Might be a little too windy out here, but maybe not. These are the boulders that he pulled out of there. Incredible. All of these, well, let me show you the rest of them. All of these came out of that tiny little area. Insane. So we're going to be working on this big time. We're going to get the wall coming out, over, and then this way. And then we're going to try to incorporate all of these boulders into the side right here and the side right here. Stack them up. Hopefully it works. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe and click on the update icon. If you have any questions or comments, make sure you put them in the comments section below. And if you share the video and or give it a like, it helps the channel out greatly. Thanks for watching and have a great day.